The Australian Ghost Whisperer with Katarina Legato and James Jennings. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Australian Ghost Whisperer. Hello Katarina.
Hi James, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. If you're watching the video, you can see we're in separate locations today. If you're listening, you may not be able to tell that, but we're doing this remotely, so bit of a different thing than being in the same room, but still all good. Still
We're
catching
still
vibes.
connected, James.
Still connected, always.
Our souls and hearts are still connected.
They are. Oh my goodness. The
Yeah,
adventures we've been on over the years, Kat. I'll tell you what,
been on quite a lot of journeys.
we sure have.
Yeah, and hello to all our listeners. I hope you guys are doing well. Um,
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed. And we are going to talk today about a topic which a lot of people find fascinating because, you know, there's a lot of time spent trying to work them out and figure it out and understand them, and that is dreams. Also, coincidentally, the name of my favorite Fleetwood Mac song. Do you like Fleetwood Mac, Kat? Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're a fan?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Maybe if they tour again, we'll go to a concert.
Absolutely.
All right. So dreams. What are we going to get stuck into, Kat? Tell me about it.
So I thought that we would do perhaps a couple of segments on dreams because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to dreams.
Yeah.
So hopefully our listeners will find this quite interesting.
I'm sure.
So just for today, I wanted to just sort of speak about a few basic things. Throughout our lifetime, our entire lifetime, I think we spend about 6 hours asleep, where we sleep, which is our sleep time.
Oh, do you mean 6 years?
6 years in our entire lifetime of sleep.
That's a lot of sleep.
And when we fall asleep, our minds are still quite active. Our brain is still quite active, even in the sleep state. Because what happens is the conscious mind will just kind of go to sleep, but the unconscious mind kind of gets into, trying to unravel through the dreams. You find that, it's unraveling perhaps the day. So, you might have found yourself, you've had a busy day or you've been running around in the city, a very crowded place, and you might find yourself that night like just dreaming and seeing lots of faces, wondering who are all these faces? Why am I seeing all these faces? Well, the unconscious mind remembers the faces, even though you've just walked past these people. Your unconscious mind is like recalls all those faces. So whilst you're asleep, it's unraveling all the jumbo mumbo of that day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
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 And what happens when we fall asleep is it's a time that our physical body, gets really nice and rested and cozy. And our spirit that is kind of feels quite, trapped in this physical body has a time to escape and get out of the physical body. So people always say, do we really leave our bodies at night? Yeah, absolutely. Everybody does. When you go to sleep, it's just a natural thing that the soul, the spirit of the person will kind of leave the body. It's not like when you die, obviously that's a different scenario again, but the spirit will go out. It's still connected very much to the body whilst the body's resting. The conscious mind perhaps has no idea, but the spirit will go out into the realms. And, depending on where they're at. So depending on where you're at that day, you might sort of, have been thinking of somebody that you haven't seen for a long time. Maybe they live in another country, or, you haven't been able to catch up with a friend and you keep putting it off. Well, and it means a lot to you. then you actually have the opportunity to do that out in the astral planes, where you can catch up with your friend, or you go to the other side of the world and catch up with a relative or family on the other side of the world. So the spirit is free to go to wherever it really desires to go, and to be with the people that it desires to be with. The problem is, of course, that we wake up, and a lot of people wake up with alarms and going off, so you don't have time to wake up naturally, to just lay there for a while and be able to just recall the dreams. Where did I go? What did I visit? And if you can do that, you'll find that slowly over time, your recall of your dreams, your memory will get better and better. It's just that we kind of, the alarm goes off, we jump out of bed, or we snooze for a bit more, and we just and so we don't spend enough time practicing a way to recall our dreams. But if we did, it's quite interesting, because, as I said, you're catching up with people that perhaps you've desired so much to catch up with, but haven't had the time or whatever, or the finances to get to the other side of the world. But it's also a time where we can travel, and meet up with perhaps, the angelic realms, or your guides, or you can also meet up with loved ones on the other side. So many people, a lot of my clients say, in my dreams, I always find myself sitting with my mum who's passed away, or my dad, and we're talking, and that's a real meeting. That's a real meeting of spirits meeting up and chatting, because, our love for other people, our family members, friends, that's like a glue that always keeps us connected to each other. So even when you lose a loved one very much, when you go to sleep and your spirit's able to get out of the 3D dimensions and travel up into the higher dimensions, it's able to spend time and catch up with loved ones. I had that recently with a friend that passed away, beautiful lady, and it was like, in the dream, it was like she was young and beautiful, and she was dressed nicely, and she was showing me her new house in the spirit realm, and I was just there visiting, and I kind of knew I was in a dream state, and we were chatting, and then she's like, "Oh, well," she goes, "why don't you clean this house for me? It's my new house."
Yeah.
So it's like we sat together and we just prayed in her new home in the spirit world. And then, kind of, it got a little bit, I don't remember the rest, but I remember hugging her and saying, "I love you, I miss you so much." And it was really beautiful. And gosh, I came back to my waking state, and I was like, oh, wow, like I really did hang out with my friend. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've had that experience as well, Kat.
Yeah.
And I've probably told this story on the podcast before, so I'll keep it short and apologize if I'm repeating myself.
For boring people with your...
Hey, ease up.
I'm only kidding. Go tell your story.
Kat, I'm born to bore people. Like a friend of mine had passed away, and not long after, I had a really vivid dream where he appeared in it, and he was surprised I could see him. He's like, "Oh, you can see me," and I was like, "Yeah, of course I can see you." Yeah. And he's like, "Come outside while I have a smoke." And he used to always do that. If you wanted a little private chat, he'd be like, "Come outside while I have a smoke, private chat." So I'll go outside, and he's having a ghost cigarette or whatever he's doing, and
he's still imagining himself enjoying the sensation, which is something you can do when you're in spirit. Right.
So he did that, and then he said to me, and we had a conversation. The only part of which I remember is he said to me, "Make decisions with your heart, not your head." And I was just like, ooh, good advice. And that's all I remember. I feel like I spent a lot more time with him in spirit, but that's the only bit that I was kind of like supposed to remember. But yeah, but my grandmother's turned up in dreams, and I know
Yeah.
family members who've had, family members who've passed away come up in dreams. So it happens.
Yeah, it's a time that the spirit can leave the confines of the physical body, the confines of the physical world, and be able to go beyond and have the experience it desires.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, here's another story. This is kind of embarrassing, but I'm not above embarrassing myself on this podcast, Katerina. I remember a while ago there was this girl I had a bit of a crush on, and I had a dream, and it was so realistic. And in this dream, we are kind of like lying down, holding hands, and like connecting, and it was like we weren't together in the physical plane, but on the spirit plane, we had kind of connected, and it was this really nice feeling of, like, oh, here we are, and then that was it. Anyway,
And in physical life, had you guys had a date or no?
no, no. So that was weird, but
So there must, there must have been a desire to get together, but it just didn't physically happen. And that could be that there were fears involved or emotional stuff that you feel in your physical body, but then as a spirit, you overcome it and you're able to be with that person.
Yeah,
that's probably what I would say happened in that case. But that's why it's really important, when you go to bed, is to spend, a few minutes unwinding, doing some nice breathing exercises and just trying to let go of the stresses and tension of the day, but also perhaps setting an intention. Perhaps it's like, I'm really missing, maybe it's someone on the other side, or I'm really missing, somebody that you're really longing to see who lives in another country. And if you set that intention, and as you continue falling asleep and just breathing, just have that person in your mind and in your heart.
Yeah.
Have the image of that person so that you're kind of directing yourself, you're directing the spirit where to go. Don't worry about the spirit will be able to find the person. Don't worry how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just you can use your power of intention to be able to direct your spirit to say, I really want to go and visit so and so, or I really feel like I'm confused, I'm a little bit tired, I need some spiritual guidance. Perhaps I could, visit the higher realms and be able to communicate with my angelic beings or my spirit guides. So if you set those intentions and you just keep that, in mind and in your heart as you're falling asleep, you more than likely probably will get there.
Yeah.
But you must always remember that, try to, when you're doing these exercises, to not have an alarm going in the morning. So perhaps, if you have the weekends off, you might practice that, say, on a Friday night, and you can sort of, just wake up naturally on a Saturday and then just lay there for a few minutes before you jump out of bed. And just keep your eyes closed, continue the breathing, and just allow the memory of where you've been, where you've gone, where your spirit's been that night. Because your unconscious mind is what is doing also the traveling as part of the spirit. So the unconscious
write stuff down as well, like a little journal.
Yeah, you can write stuff. Yeah.
So
the unconscious mind will recall it. It's just like kind of, you've just got to go into that kind of alpha state where you're a bit relaxed and you can kind of allow the memories to come through of your travels through the night.
Yeah.
So it's, I think that we don't, as a society, place enough emphasis of how much we can really do in our dream times. You look at the beautiful and native the native people of the world, their dream times were so important. They knew that that was a time where the spirit was free, and the spirit could even be with God and join, your spirit can join the spirit of God. And, and I believe they use those times to access sacred knowledge, to access sacred wisdoms. See, we've lost all these skills because we live in this, high-powered world of stress, and we don't stop enough to see ourselves as sacred beings or acknowledge ourselves as sacred beings. So therefore, we just kind of fall asleep. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they're having a few wines before they go to sleep or whatever. And so it makes it really hard for them to be able to unwind properly and be clear in the mind, be clear in their energy, to be able to, travel properly. But if you look at a lot of the indigenous people of the world, going to sleep, there was a preparation, there was a ritual, it was a sacred time where they actually, took the time to be able to prepare themselves for the travels through the night into other dimensions,
Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. So I think that, I think it's a lovely practice, and I know it's hard. I know that, the indigenous people didn't have to get up with an alarm clock and go to work. But whenever you can, I would suggest and recommend to our listeners to try to do that, try to just, make it, if the next day you don't have to rush off to work, try to make a little bit of a ritual out of it, even things like having a nice warm bath at night before you go to sleep. Things like that will help. So therefore, when you have a warm bath, you're relaxed, maybe playing some relaxing music, doing a little bit of breathing, a little bit of meditation. All these things will ensure that you fall asleep in a much more heightened frequency, a clearer state of mind, perhaps just letting go of any sort of emotions you're feeling. Maybe you've had a fight with someone. Try and just let it all go. Try and set that intention that you want to have a beautiful, journey within your sleep time. And it's like learning anything new. Eventually, you will get there and be able to achieve that.
Yeah, just with practice.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you ever have I have this experience when I'm about to fall asleep. Like if I'm like tired and I kind of doze off for a few minutes, right? Like I have this experience where like, it's like my mind, the conscious mind is still logical and focused. And then I slip into sleep and it's like the logic just goes right out.
Yeah, but that's the conscious mind that goes to sleep.
Yeah, it's like slipping from sanity into insanity and experiencing what that feels like. Because it's like I can sense this state of going from like, I can make sense of everything, and then
you feel yourself dropping into that sleep state. Again, if you stay aware, you will feel yourself dropping, into that dream state.
I'm just talking about moments when I doze off, and like it's almost like I said, you're going from like sane to insane. You can feel all the logic strip away, and all of a sudden your brain is just full of things that make no logical sense. Is that just me? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But like,
again, if you're going into, like I said, if you're falling asleep in a state of stress and you haven't prepared, then your mind, depending, like I said in the beginning, your mind will be trying to unravel. Your unconscious mind is trying to unravel the craziness of the day. So what I'm directing everybody is how to perform some rituals when you can. Of course, you're not going to be able. I can't even do that every night because some nights I'm just so tired, I just flop into bed and I can't think about anything because I'm too tired to think another thought. But when you can, perhaps you can set the time aside.
Yeah.
and go to bed a little bit earlier. But doing that ritual will help prepare you emotionally and mentally and physically. And the more relaxed and the more at peace you feel, you can get yourself into a state of inner peace. You're going to have a better night's sleep, but your spirit will be able to travel wherever you intend to direct it towards.
Would you say that, like, because in modern society there's so much sensory stimulation and so much stuff that we're
Of
always
course,
taking
that
in?
affects.
Yeah, so it's almost like, I guess, when we're asleep, our
We're unloading,
yeah,
the
all the junk,
unconscious is
all the
unloading
junk's
all of
just kind
that.
of getting
Absolutely.
cleared
And
out.
but sometimes once that has been cleared and deleted and or unloaded, you can still have, set that intentions to be aware of where the spirit travels through the night. It's like lucid dreaming, where people set the intention to try to remember, that they're leaving their body, that they're above their bodies, that they're leaving the bedroom, going through the bedroom ceiling, that they're up in the sky, they're looking at their town, then they're traveling. You can actually do all that astral travel. But again, this is just a simple way of getting into a practice of being able to become more, I guess, aware of your dreams and, when you come back, when you wake in the morning. Because also, like I said, the indigenous people use the dream time to access wisdom. So you can access, past lives, you can access wisdom if you so choose to. You can merge with the higher consciousness of God and the higher beings, and just being in that energy. Obviously, that energy field is going to help, for you to absorb wisdoms and information. So it's definitely being able to get yourself into a nice calm state at night, and then being able to wake up calmly and perhaps sit for a while, just lay in the bed, close your eyes and try to breathe. That will help you to access your unconscious mind, that will have the full memory of where you've been. And then you can write stuff down.
Fantastic. Well, if anyone's watching or listening wants to give it a try, like, start going to bed with an intention, give yourself some time in the morning to, unwind, perhaps tune into what you were dreaming about, jot it down. If you have any great results, please let us know in the comments, or write into us. We'd love to hear if you've given this a go and if you're able to build your skills over time. I'll even do it myself, Kat.
Yeah.
And just see what happens.
And next week we'll cover part 2 of this talk. We'll talk about, how you can help yourself to emotionally get into a better space before sleep. We'll talk a little bit about the meanings of dreams. So we'll talk about over the next few weeks, the right type of protection. So there's quite a bit to cover. That's why I wanted to chop this up into a few segments.
Okay, all right. Well, I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, so hopefully, our listeners will enjoy this, something a little bit different.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well,
and please, if you like our channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and please share our videos.
Please do. And we'll be back next week to talk more dreams.
More dreams.
More dreams.
And with that, have a lovely day wherever you are, and have a peaceful sleep.
Sweet dreams.
Sweet
dreams to you all.
Sweet dreams to everybody. Okay. Bye, everybody.
See everyone. Bye.
Bye.
To gain access to private spiritual development classes, guided meditations, and live Q&As with Katerina, please visit www.patreon, that's patreon.com/The Australian Ghost Whisperer.